So we had a primary election in Texas, Georgia, and Kentucky on Tuesday, and the results are pretty solid. I would say they're pretty solid. So first, let's get to the bad news. Justice Democrats Mary Wilson, Laura Mosier, and Rick Trevino went down in Texas. Now, that hurt, and one of those races, I believe Laura Mosier, that was a high-profile race where there was DCCC meddling against Laura Mosier. So ultimately, the establishment, the dark side, won out in that race, and that's upsetting. That's a letdown. I mean, I think it was The Intercept who had a very detailed article about how there's DCCC meddling against Laura. And listen, you all know that. You know, we knew the establishment wasn't going to go down without a fight. And when I say a fight, I mean really they're going to do everything they can in an unethical fashion in order to fight back against the populist left wave. So that's the bad news. But there is good news. There's quite a bit of good news. So Justice Democrat Lisa Ring in Georgia's 1st District won her primary. She'll face Republican, I love this name because it is so Republican, Buddy Carter. She's running against a guy named Buddy Carter in November. Justice Democrat Laura Birch won her primary in the 3rd District of Texas. But here's the news that's superb. So Justice Democrats had an okay night. Our Revolution, hence the graphic over my left shoulder here, Our Revolution absolutely crushed. So they won in 7 races across the South. Stacey Abrams for governor of Georgia, she won. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's the first African-American female to, I think, get through a primary in Georgia to be the main candidate in the general election in Georgia. I could be mistaken about that, but that might be true. But either way, she's fantastic when you look at the policies. And then you have Paul Walker, not that Paul Walker, that Paul Walker's dead. But Paul Walker won for Congress from Kentucky, and then Maureen Skinner in Arkansas, Adrienne Wallace, Lisa Ring, who again was endorsed by Justice Democrats and Our Revolution, and then you have Sheikh Rahman and Shelley Hutchinson. They're also Our Revolution endorsed candidates that did pretty well. So Our Revolution, remember guys, Justice Democrats was primarily national candidates. So people running for U.S. Congress and U.S. Senate. I think they recently expanded to not just that, but now they do governor's races as well. But to my knowledge, Justice Democrats does not do, state races. So Our Revolution, they do, I think, everything. So they've endorsed a bunch of people at the national level, but then also a lot of these people who won, you're talking about at the state level. So, but either way, man, 7 victories for Our Revolution is absolutely amazing. And the hilarious thing about all this, the day before this election, Politico was one establishment outlet that did this, but there were a few others as well. They ran hit pieces on Our Revolution, and they said, oh my God, people are not happy. It's not going well. Our Revolution is in disarray. Well, how's that for a disarray? Winning 7 of your races. So I spoke about this recently, but when you look at Our Revolution and Justice Democrats together, and also the PCCC, Progressive Congressional Campaign Committee? No, Progressive Change something. I don't know what this CCC stands for. But they're also a populist left group basically. But when you look at Our Revolution and Justice Democrats, you have about a 50% win rate at this point. Now, some people could look at that and they'll be like, well, hey, that's not great. I mean, it's like a failing grade. But at the same time, you have to understand that pretty much across the board, all of these candidates don't raise as much money as their establishment counterparts. Because the establishment counterparts, of course, take corporate PAC money and are not averse to big donors. And, they're willing to push a centrist, corporatist, neoliberal ideology so they get the backing of all the people with the fucking money. So when you look at the fact that we're at a permanent monetary disadvantage, but also the fact that despite that, there's about a 50% success rate, the first time around, mind you, because these things take time, man. It takes time to build a movement. But it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So I'm still pretty optimistic looking forward. Now, I'm not going to say that, I think for sure there will be this populist left wave that works, and then we're guaranteed to, sweep in the midterms, or we're guaranteed in 2020 to obliterate the Republicans, because the establishment wing is still alive and well, and they're still fully funded, and they're still doing all the dirty tricks in the book. But what I will say is we've had a strong showing so far. So it's not all bad news. It's not all good news. It's something in the middle. But to me, what that says is we just have to keep fighting and keep working. And, I know a lot of people who listen to this show are involved in various groups. And I would encourage you to just stay involved with those groups. Whether you're, working with Democratic Socialists, for example, or the Green Party, or you're working as an independent, or you're working with, your local Our Revolution chapter or Justice Democrats. However much time and effort and money you can put in to these various efforts, the better, because especially since we're at a permanent systemic disadvantage with the lack of money, every little bit helps. And remember, in the near future, we'll have the Allison Hartson race soon. So you got to get involved, got to go vote, got to, do whatever you can do, because some of these races are, I think, probably more important just by virtue of the fact that they're bigger offices. So when Paula Jean went down, that hurt. But remember, Joe Manchin raised $6 million for that race. Paula Jean raised under $200,000. And even given that gigantic disparity and the fact that the media wouldn't cover her, she still managed to get 30% of the vote. So, but I'm not looking for moral victories. I'm looking for victories. I'm looking for the real deal Holyfield. So that means that we all got to get involved and we all got to fight on. And 50% is not bad. And all these groups, I think, play their part and do a good job, whether it be Our Revolution or the PCCC or Justice Democrats or Democratic Socialists or other groups on the left. But let's keep it going, man. Because, you know what? My message would be the same regardless of how this specific election went. So there are going to be nights where we walk away and we win, most of the races, if not all of the races. There was an election. There have been 2 special elections so far where the left really did even better than this past Tuesday. And so there are going to be some elections where we walk away going, yeah, we got this. But then there's going to be other elections where it's not even mixed. It's not even 50-50 or whatever. There's going to be some elections where it's like, shit, we lost 93% of our races today. But either way, whether we're winning, whether we're losing, whether it's something in the middle, if you keep fighting on, that guarantees success in the long run. And it guarantees that our voices get heard. So just keep in mind, everything is biased against us, and we still have about a 50% victory rate, which is pretty goddamn impressive the first time around. So just keep going.